How's it going, everyone? It's Forestry, back again after, I know, a bit of a delay, for another professional Valorant Breakdown. So today, we're going to be looking at the Blast Invitational Final with G2 Esports versus FunPlus Phoenix. And we're going to be taking a look at how FunPlus Phoenix managed to take 2 of the 5 maps off of G2 Esports. Coming into this game, G2 had only lost around 14% of their total maps across all series, 9 out of 66. For FunPlus Phoenix to win 2 of these matches and take it to 11 out of 71 is very impressive, and the way they did this revolved around their strong defense. They won Haven and Ascent, and on both these matches they put up really strong defenses, neutralizing all of G2's attacking threats. In fact, on the Haven map, Mixwell was limited to only 2 kills on attack and had a 0% entry success rate, which is incredible stats for someone who's been so good offensively on Jet. So today, we're going to sort of break down some of the different styles that FunPlus Phoenix used on Haven and Ascent to defend against G2 Esports. So today we're going to take a look at how FunPlus Phoenix defended on Haven and Ascent, and how they mix between aggressive and sort of passive defensive styles to neutralize G2's attacking threat. Before we take a look at the defenses specifically, I want to have a look at this round, which is round 14 on the Haven map, which I think is the second defense round. Well, it will be the second defense round that FunPlus Phoenix have undertaken. Because in the last video that I made, I spoke about how I thought FunPlus Phoenix were a talented roster, but they were lacking some sort of team cohesion and team play. And I just wanted to sort of highlight that I really think they've solved this issue. The main thing that I pointed out was a seeming lack of communication between FunPlus Phoenix. You know, they were a new roster at the time, they hadn't played together that often, and now they've really sort of brought that togetherness out, and they're really working together and communicating well. And so I want to break it down on this round here. So as you can see, FunPlus Phoenix clearly won the first round of this half. They've got sort of this half by Spectres, Judge, and Angel staying on a pistol with Zipan going on the Bulldog. Whereas G2 have obviously pretty much got a full save except for Ardis' Shorty. And I want to just highlight how FunPlus Phoenix used their communication in this round, and how it wins in the round effectively. So to start the round, you can see that FunPlus Phoenix are set up in fairly orthodox lineup. One on C, one on B, one on A, and then one on each of the links. Shadow had started in the corridor between A and B to send his fault line down to A short, with Xiao sort of, he was peeking down A long, has backed off after throwing his dart. And they clearly see that they're not A, G2. And this is when Angel starts to push out from B. And as he's pushing out, he spots David P. He spots David P coming up mid towards B. And he does the smart thing and immediately backs off from this fight. Backs off to C-Link to where Zipan is waiting. Where just missing the flash that David P puts in to the B main. This is the place where the communication really comes in for G2, for FunPlus Phoenix, sorry. Clearly Angel has seen David P here and then immediately backed off. And prior to this, it looked as though Shadow was going to walk back from Link and perhaps go to A, probably go to A, because standard is to have 2 on A, 2 on C, and 1 on B. Maybe, or you could even play none on B. But he then turns around, and as we'll see in just a second, he turns around and we can see him here in A-Link. He knows that David P is about to push onto B site, thanks to the call from Angel. And we'll just see David P tries to push on and immediately gets killed by Shadow, waiting in the corridor. And this is just really good communication from FunPlus Phoenix, and great players you've seen from Zipan. He is an absolute monster, and it just it just wins them the round. And I really wanted to just touch on that because prior to this series and, a couple of months, I thought FunPlus Phoenix might struggle if they didn't fix this communication issue. And, well, they've really fixed it. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to be a really, really talented roster, and they're really coming into their own now. The next round that we're going to take a look at is round 18. G2 have had a pretty rough go of it. They've lost quite a few rounds in a row, and as you can see, they are on not a full eco, but basically a full eco for the purposes of this explanation. And whereas FunPlus Phoenix are full rifles, full armor, probably full utility, they've got a lot of money in the bank. And so it's going to be a really tough round for G2. And to go into this, I am pretty sure that FunPlus Phoenix are expecting some sort of rush from G2, just with the way they've set up. They've got one player, Xiao, on A, watching down A long. He's peeking the long angle to make sure that there's no one crossing lobby. Whereas they've stacked 3 players on B, which isn't an issue in itself, because if G2 were to rush B, they would just be obliterated by the waiting players in B main. The interesting one I thought was not the fact that Meadow is alone on C, but I thought it was the tripwire setup was really impressive. I'm not super keen on the camera because I don't know how much of C long the camera can actually see. I think that, I don't know, I've not seen the actual cameras, but I believe that camera can only really sort of see to this area, and obviously it's more to sort of see down into the entrance point, but I'm happy to be corrected on that if I'm wrong. But it's the tripwire setup that I like from Meadow, and the way he uses the tripwires sort of to passively hold the site and just play for kills. He's not playing for information as such, because they don't need to. With the fact that G2 are on such a strong, such a big eco, and FunPlus Phoenix sort of know that it's going to be a rush, so information is, once you've got the first contact information, that's all you need. So that they're either going to be coming C or they're not. And I think this is a benefit of stacking all these players B, is that yes, if G2 do rush A, people can easily rotate to A, and if they do rush C, they can quite easily rotate to C. But back to the tripwires, the way that Meadow is set up is he is stood behind the big box in the middle of sight, and he has tripwires here, and you can't really see it obviously from this angle, but he has tripwires between the box and wood. Obviously, as you can see on the map, they're here and here, so they're just blocking, the two lanes into sight. And he's going to sit behind the box, and hopefully people will run into the tripwires and he'll be able to get a kill. FPX will at this point know that it's effectively a rush C, if they haven't already heard the footsteps, because obviously, as I mentioned before, you had Xiao watching A long, and he would have seen them cross, especially with the arrow, the recon dart that he sent out. So they know for sure it's not A. And here Shadow has pushed out a B long. I think maybe Zipan pushed out with him, but as soon as they push out B main, they saw no one, so they must know that it's a C long push, unless they've already gone into garage. But again, they would have heard them rushing into garage, and so they know that this whole area is clear, and that does work to their advantage in this round. So G2 rush onto the site with Meadow waiting behind the box. He gets flashed out, and his tripwires, as you can see, his tripwires do work. Padatek gets caught in this tripwire, and Nixwell, as we can see here, gets caught in this tripwire, and he didn't. And the important thing to note is that he didn't dash through it, and so the tripwire isn't destroyed without catching him. If that makes sense. So he gets caught in it, which is important. Unfortunately for Meadow, he just gets absolutely butt rushed, and there's not really a lot he could do. I just want to say I like the setup. That's all I'm going to say, is that although it didn't work as well as intended, I think it's a good setup, and I think that it has potential to work. It's similar to a setup that I've seen on Bind B site using Cypher. You can sit in the crate on B site on Bind and effectively play for kills like this setup. And so, I mean, if we just go on with the clip, we'll see that yes, Meadow gets killed, but it's just a really good retake from FunPlus Phoenix. They take control of Garage because they take control of Garage because they knew that G2 went in there. Pith tries to lurk and flank, but just gets absolutely destroyed by Angel, who turns around at the right time. And so then it's a 4v2 situation for FunPlus Phoenix, and with rifles versus an eco. I mean, Mixwell, yes, picked up a rifle, but it's just a good retake from G2. Artist gets caught by the drone and flashed, and they win. But I mean, the retake is just it's a good retake. I just wanted to highlight the passive style of defense that the FunPlus Phoenix used in this round, and it's something that we'll see again on Ascent. And I think it's although it didn't work, the setup, I think it has a lot of potential, especially if a team is not on an eco, so they're not just butt rushing a site. If they're just trying to take that methodically and coming onto site, and you can maybe catch one or two people unaware, I think it could be really, really useful in certain situations. And now we're going to take a look at Game 1, because Haven was Game 3. I'm going in a backwards order, but it's fine, it doesn't matter. We're going to take a look at Game 1 of the series, which is Ascent. FunPlus Phoenix are defending, and G2 are attacking. It's the start of the game. We're in round 5 here. FunPlus Phoenix have a really strong showing. They won the first 3 rounds, and then just dropped the 4th round to G2, so it's currently 3-1 on defense. And yeah, we're in round 5, and we're just going to take a look at how FunPlus Phoenix defend in this round. It's a really interesting passive style of defense. So we start off with, let me just get the name up. We start off with a fault line from Shadow to B main. I don't know if it's there or if it's there. It's into B main, and this is combined with, as you can see, this is combined with a Sova Dart into B main. The interesting thing to note, Xiao has an Odin. I mean, it's a common strategy, I know, but I really, really like the combination of utility here. Xiao with his Odin is just gonna wall bang through the wall after he's thrown his dart out. But the combination of utility, I think, is really important. So he's combined it with Shadow's fault line, which obviously stuns and sort of disorientates opponents. And so once Xiao throws the dart, they can't move anywhere, G2. And so he's basically got a free kill, at least a free kill. And actually, I think he was unlucky. He only got 1, but I think that was unlucky. I mean, he is so close to killing so many people. He picks up 1, and I do have a comment about this combination of utility in this particular round. You know, it's a really good play, and Shadow does really well to pick up the kill. But I think Shadow's fault line comes out a little bit too early. I think it needs to come out a little bit later. Not much, because I think they would have still been stunned just about when Xiao was through his dart in, but there was quite a lot of time between the fault line and the dart, and then the subsequent Odin spray. So I think that was just something that they might need to work on FunPlus Phoenix, but overall, it's a really good play and a really good communication. After this, Mixwell has a decent entry on this. Fairly decent entry frag. Meadow obviously picks up the lurker kill on Pith. And now here's Mixwell's entry. He entries, gets a decent, assist on Palatek. And then Xiao picks up a kill onto the Sage, who's boosted on the wall. Which I think that's another thing that is interesting about this map, is that this map happened after Sage was nerfed. And it was interesting how G2 continued to use the Sage after the nerf, even though a lot of the teams, professional teams at the minute, were sort of preferring not to take Sage on Ascent, even before the nerf. So I mean, obviously TSMs were the sort of proprietors of that concept of a Sageless comp back in the time when everyone was running Sage on every map because she was, I wouldn't say overpowered, but she was just too useful to not have. So G2 has sort of had a decent entry into the site. They got the kill onto the Omen, which is Angel, but they haven't dealt with Xiao. You know, they've not really had a chance to. I think they were hoping that Sage, who I think was David P, would handle them. Sage was boosted on the wall in sort of on the orb box, and Xiao managed to kill Sage. But I think that it could be a sort of a bit of an issue, not dealing with the Sova, because he's in the back of the site with an Odin. He can just sort of sit and spray and pray and wait. I think Meadow is kind of slow on his rotate, but not really his fault because he just had to sort of pick up the kill here and then he's had to come all the way back. But they know that G2 are all on B, and so it's just good solid defense from G2. And we're just going to watch the round play out. In a good fault line from Shadow there. Zipan just goes insane and kills someone. It gets a little hairy, you know. 3v2. It was a 4v2. Oh, I can't remember 4v2. Yeah, it was a 4v2. It's a little bit hairy, but in the end, ultimately a good round, good flash and good combination of swinging on the flash from the defenders from market side. It's a good solid round and it's a nice passive hold at the start of the round. It's quite easy for teams. I mean, I know I do it myself in ranked. I'm not very good, but I like to push out a B main. You know, you get a bit restless. You push through B doors. You know, you drop your raised car through B main to try and pick up some damage. But I think it's just really good discipline and really good passive hold from FunPlus Phoenix to pick up the starting frag on G2 completely risk free. You know, you're protected by the wall. Yes, you could get sprayed down, but you're not going to beat an Odin with a spray through a wall. So it's effectively risk free, and it's just excellent combination of the utility of Sova's dart and Breach's fault line, and it just puts FunPlus Phoenix in a really good position for the rest of the round. You know, they're 5v4 up. It's going to be really hard for G2 to come back from that. It's bad that I didn't know, but I don't think they had a Sage revive. I feel like it's unlikely, but they could well have done. But I like the disciplined play here. You know, sometimes the flashy, aggressive defending play is cool, and it can be really effective, but so can such a passive play, and I think it's really good. It's just really strong from FunPlus Phoenix to do that, and it shows a variety, because FunPlus Phoenix have been known, you know, for their strong, aggressive plays. You know, Zipan just jumping forwards and going insane on Raze and picking up all the kills. But to prove that they've got a different side to their defense, I think shows that they're a really well-rounded team, and it shows that they could, you know, they can really push on to challenge G2 and be one of the better teams in Europe. I mean, they already are one of the better teams, but there's definitely scope for FunPlus Phoenix. If they carry on this trajectory, they could definitely dethrone G2 as the kings of Europe. So we're back again, and we're just going to take a quick look at round 9, because I think it really showcases FunPlus Phoenix's aggressive side, aggressive defending, and I really like it. It's a really, really cool play. It's not that in-depth, so it's not going to be a long analysis, but I just think it's a super cool play, and it really pays off for G2, for FunPlus Phoenix, sorry. So, coming into this round, FunPlus Phoenix had won every round between round 5 and this run, so they've won the 3 rounds in between. But they had tried aggression on the defense, and it hadn't worked out. Obviously, we saw that their passive defending did work out hugely, and so there was a little worry coming into this round that FunPlus Phoenix might just turtle up and just look to be passive on sites and just retake sites when they lose them, and lose that sort of nice aggressive play that we always see FunPlus Phoenix doing. And so they just went balls to the wall with this play and just said, we are taking the fight to you, and we're going to win this round because of it. So let's have a look. everybody's got full buy, no eco. G2 had been eco in the last couple of rounds to get to a full buy, and you know Mixwell is on the operator. Shadow also is on the operator, but Mixwell is famous for his flashy operator plays on Jet. But FunPlus Phoenix just shut them down, so let's have a look. So you can see to start the round, it's an interesting. Well, no, it's not interesting at all. It's fairly standard from FunPlus Phoenix. You have 2 players B, 1 mid, 2 A, sort of holding the A main lol area. You have 2 G2 attackers B side, 3 A side. Fairly standard stuff. You would imagine that the Sova is gonna take a peek down mid, because Ascent is all about controlling mid. But we'll just see how this plays out. So G2 do the classic Sage boost operator peek down A short. You know, it's not anything new, pretty standard stuff, but I like it. I like the, you know, you can get quite an easy pick, especially if teams aren't expecting it. But it's all about the offensive play from FunPlus Phoenix this round for me. Offensive, defensive play. Ridiculous. So what's happened here is this offensive play, which I really like. They didn't really capture it. I was just looking through the actual footage. They didn't actually capture it, so I'm going to have to talk it through on the minimap. But that's fine. So Shadow peeked out B main and tried to contact the Sage. Again, I forget who the Sage is. I think it's David P, but I don't know exactly. And then he backed off after he missed his operator shot, and both players backed off. But then Shadow uses his fault line. I think uses his fault line down through B main. I'm not really sure what's going on with these 2 recon darts. The FunPlus Phoenix Sova definitely threw this one. I'm not sure whose dart this is, or if that's a bug or what. The offensive play that I like, though. So G2's Omen has thrown, Pyotech has thrown his smoke here, but it's FunPlus Phoenix's Omen. I mean, FunPlus Phoenix must have a read somewhere that G2 are tending towards A side here. And so Angel throws his smoke this here in spawn, and he uses his ultimate to TP this side of the smoke, which I think is just, it's a phenomenal play. I mean, I don't know if it's a common smoke and, you know, common thing for someone to do, but I have not seen this before in Valorant. Maybe I've just not watched enough games, but I have not seen anyone do this before. And it's just an insane play, because obviously, because of the smoke here, blocking the view from anyone lurking, unless someone is waiting in spawn, which, you know, they're not going to be, Angel's just got a free flank. For a free flank, where, yes, G2 might have an idea of where roughly he is, but they've not really got an idea. And by the time they realise, it's too late. And they combine this with the Sova ultimate. They pick up a free kill onto Mixwell. David P tries to win the duel, just loses the duel. And if you look here, let's look at the minimap. What did David P drop? He dropped the spike. Now FunPlus Phoenix just have complete control over the spike for free. I mean, Shao is sending his drone up through mid to ensure that there's no one going to be on catwalk or short yet, which there isn't, luckily for FunPlus Phoenix. But even if there was, they would know about it, and they'd be able to duel. They'd be able to duel from this angle, and so they know that the defenders have to be coming through the spawn. Pyotech is contacting against Zipan, and we would assume Zipan will win the duel, but who knows? We will see that now. Zipan does win the duel, and it's such a strong play from FunPlus Phoenix. They got a free flank off, got control of the bomb, and there's really nothing G2 can do at this point. It's a 2v5, and FunPlus Phoenix have all the angles, and they just win the round. I think it's a really, really good play from. I know it's obviously a good play, but it's just a really thoughtful play because G2 there's nothing G2 can do about it. Even though they knew where Angel teleported in, they knew he was teleporting into spawn. He had to be, but there was nothing they could do. They couldn't rotate in time from A, and G2, the Mixwell and David P were just caught in between two pincer movement from behind and from B main. Shadow pushed out, and with the combination of the Sova ultimate, there was really it was just a complete bombardment from 3 different angles effectively, and there was nothing G2 could do. They just both of the G2 players die for free. Well, not for free, but they didn't get a trade kill. David P was in a good position to, and he lost the duel against Angel, and it gives FunPlus Phoenix full control of the spike, full control of the round, and eventually, because of their such a strong showing on defense, full control of this game. Ultimately, they lost the series, but it's not really a testament to FunPlus Phoenix that they lost. It's just that G2 are so good and so strong. But FunPlus Phoenix put up a really, really good showing in this series, and I'm excited to see where they go in Europe in the coming months. With the First Strike tournament coming up soon, I think this could be a really big moment for FunPlus Phoenix. But I mean, it'd be really nice to see someone knock G2 off their throne. As much as I respect G2 for having such a great showing, I mean, they were completely undefeated. They won every single Ignition series, so there's no disrespect to G2. They're a phenomenal team, but I'd like to see FunPlus Phoenix or Team Liquid knock them off. So I'm looking forward to the First Strike tournament, and I will definitely be covering some of the games. Anything interesting that happens, I'd love to break it down for you guys. So please just subscribe if you're liking the videos, and make sure you're here for the next one, which hopefully will be a lot sooner than this one was compared to the last one. I've been away for too long. Cheers, guys. See you on the next one.